Welcome back to the Young Hearts Run Free podcast, Debbie Martin Consani. By my tally, this is your 9th appearance on the
No
podcast.
way.
Yeah,
I need
number
to start
9.
charging you guys
So,
appearance fees.
and
Nice.
also it reminded me today. We're going to speak about the winter spine race. It reminded me today. I think it might have been Stephen and I's first ever. I was in Tesco and Stephen phoned me and he said, "She's done it." The year was 2022 when you won the winter spine.
The vintage year.
And it was almost like the bat signal went up to the mics. It was the first time we ever recorded something like we were that excited about. So thank you very much for your time and welcome, Debbie Martin Consani. How are you?
Thank you very much. Number 9. That's
Nice
exciting.
cap.
Yeah, you must be pretty desperate. You must be running out of people to speak to. You've got to rehash them.
Well, this isn't a rehash. This is probably who would you speak to about the Montaigne Winter Spine race when it's going on this week and all the drama's unfolding? There's nobody better than somebody that's been there, done it, had the t-shirt, probably a couple of t-shirts and a few medals as well. So that's going to be the theme. But for somebody that doesn't know what all this spiny stuff is, maybe they're listening in to us for the very first time. What, in Debbie's words, what is the winter spine?
Yeah, I mean, taking it back, I think we're now year 13, 14, it might be. It is a race that's traditionally run in January so that you have to deal with the Great British Winter. It started out as a race that was just the full distance of the Pennine Way, which is from Edale all the way up into the Scottish borders to Kirkyeatham, which is, or maybe it's Kirkyeatham, I always get it wrong. It's 268 miles on the Pennine Way, which is a notoriously nasty trail for different reasons. So it was always one race, and now over the years they have opened it up and there are various other races on the same course running at different times and simultaneously. So I think all in all they have the full winter spine, they have the Challenger South, the Challenger North, they have the Sprint South, new for this year they have the Sprint North, and they also have 2 mountain rescue teams running as well. So yeah, there's 7 races going on at the same time, which is like a dog watcher's dream in January. So that pretty much sums up how the event layout is.
As I said, who else would you speak to?
I had to go and count them up. I had to go and so yeah. I think, yeah, the thing about the spine is it's in January. You can have any weather. You can have the ice year, the storm year. This year started off as the snow year. The storm hit before the race started, and now there's the big deep thaw, which you guys will know, living in Scotland. A couple of days ago it was solid ice and nobody could drive and move anywhere, and then overnight it became 9 degrees and it's all thawing out. And if you've been out for a run today, it doesn't make it any easier because there's less ice, there's a lot of water. That ice is just turning into slush out in the high level. There'll still be a lot of snow up in the peaks. There'll still be a lot of ice that's still to melt. So although they might not have the snow conditions they had in the earlier stages, they're still going to have to deal with various underfoot conditions as well as some crazy river crossings because that snow is melting. There's 18 hours of darkness to contend with. There's deep fatigue as you move up the course. Yeah, so you have to deal with the weather and pretty much everything else that's thrown at you.
And you said that it's particularly nasty, that trail.
Yeah.
Now, I've never set foot on it. There you go. Never set foot on it. What makes it particularly nasty in comparison?
Yeah, nasty is
trails?
probably not the right word. I always like to talk about the Pennine Way as in it's quite arduous. It's not like a traditional trail that you would expect it to be like, like the South Downs Way or the West Highland Way, which is a proper footpath. There's a lot of farmland. There's a lot of bogs. There's no intuitive route, so it can chop and change, and before you know it, you're crossing straight over a field, a couple of stiles, under a bridge. Yeah, it's pretty soggy underfoot. There's a lot of moors that you have to go over as well. But yeah, farmland and bogs, there's a lot of it. Yeah. And you know, I think we spoke about it before. John pressed the live button about, you know, pulling your feet out of snow and mud is not something that your body is used to. I know the first time I did the spine, I had real problems with my shins quite early on. And it's just that suction of pulling your feet out of mud that just hurts that tendon down the front of your foot. So yeah, people will be having that to deal with, as well as, you know, the usual foot problems. And, you know, if there's ice on top of that snow as well, you know, when you're cutting through it, the people at the front end will be building a nice trail for everyone else at the back to follow. But if you're cutting through ice, that will just start to gnarl away at your shins as well. So yeah, I don't think there's ever been an easy year of the spine. I think it's just different every year.
That's a good point, because we were saying that it's very much the type. It's often described as that was the snow year, that was the mud bath year, the storm year, and things like that.
Yeah.
And because it's in January, because it's in the UK, of course, there's that to be expected. But this year it is quite challenging in comparison, and it's no year to be breaking records.
No, I don't think it's a record-breaking year, but it's not an unfamiliar weather condition for the spine. They've had this many times on the spine. But yeah, I think it was probably deeper snow in the first couple of days, whereas there has been years where people have gone across the Cheviots and it's been above their knee in snow. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely been some challenging conditions, but it's not unfamiliar for the spine, that's for sure.
What first attracted you to the spine race, Debbie?
I think it was just years of dot watching, and suddenly it kind of gnaws away at you, and one day you decide I'd quite like to be a dot. I think yeah, just watching the race unfold, because I mean the first time I heard about it, and I think it was Beth, Pascal and Damie, and I think there was like the race had been cut short and they all chummed together to finish the race because, you know, from a safety point of view. And I think just watching them and yeah, just the coverage and the footage, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a go. And I quite enjoy a bit of suffering. Like I perform best when there's some deep suffering involved. So yeah, I think it was just one of those ones that kind of gnaws away at you, and then before you know it, you just want to do it.
For MD starting out on their running journey, beware, because what ends up happening is you see people like Beth and Damien struggling through stuff and getting grit and determination, and somewhere in the depth of your soul you hear the words, I want a piece of that. Yeah. And the next minute you know.
I think the good thing about the spine is they don't just focus on like the sharp end of the race. You know, if you follow some of the big international races, like they want the superstars, they want the fast people, and they're the only people you will maybe see video footage or photographs of. Whereas I think you'll know from following the spine, there's equal coverage. I mean, obviously there is following people who are at the pointy end of the race, but the spine isn't about people that are super fast. It's about people putting themselves out there and, you know, really having to tough it out, and the battles that go on for people to finish it. And it's just about the people that win all the way down to the very last person. And I think when people are watching that, they see that, because like it's hard for you to watch Western States, for example, and see yourself in those people that are finished in the top 10. But when you're watching the spine and you see someone coming in hundreds or coming in 150 hours, and you know they're full of joy and elation, and people can see themselves in that person rather than you know, someone that they just don't resonate with. And I think that is a good thing about the spine, because it's not about people that are super fast, it's about people who are really, really tough and stubborn. And I think that's why a lot of people will go and give it a go, because they can see themselves in that. And there's loads of people that will go there because it terrifies them. That was the reason why I wanted to do it, because the whole prospect of it terrified me into the thought that I was like, I don't know if I can finish that, but I wanted to give it a go to see if I could. And I think a lot of people will sign up for that reason as well.
I think too, the open tracking, the one that Montaigne used, people can send messages to the athletes that are out there doing it, and you become invested in the stories, all the way from, you say, from the front of the pack to the back of the pack. It's quite brilliant. People, you never know, you'll never meet them probably in your life, but you can send a message and you see that their family are willing them on, or their pals are willing them on. And then Montaigne or the Spine Race are very good at capturing these wee videos on the way. And then the people that finish, they fling a camera in front of their face, and people are like, I don't know what day it is, I don't know where I am, but let's say a few words. But it would be wrong of us to not mention that Gillian McGill has finished the Spine Race, albeit in the summer, Debbie, albeit in the summer.
Yeah.
But that was a story that captured everybody. It's a good example of everybody was following that.
Yeah.
So
more people followed Gillian than followed the people who were winning, you know?
Yeah.
Because everyone's just willing that dot to move. Yeah, I know, I totally agree with you. And they make it so personal as well. And I hope they keep it in that scale. I mean, I don't think they can, you know, increase the race much more than what it is, because I'm sure this week they'll have had their challenges. And yeah, I mean, they kind of open themselves up to sometime there might be something seriously wrong that might happen in the race if they just don't have the facilities and the people to deal with that. So, but I do hope that they keep the numbers the way they are. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a super expensive race to run because the people that are involved in it, and yeah, the logistics of everything. And I know they need to have people in the race to make the numbers work. But I do like the fact that it's it's a small personal race.
Do you want to say a wee bit about the stuff? Well, Stephen and I have never experienced the Spine Race, but do you want to say a bit about that behind the scenes? And they've got the race team, but there's also like an army of volunteers that appear at checkpoints and give up a week or so of their life to be there. Do you want to say a wee bit about that sort of side of things?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've done the full Spine twice now, and both times, like, the volunteers have been absolutely amazing. You know, I've gone into aid stations being 50 shades of and they've really looked after me and done everything they can to help me get back out on the course, like compos mentos. So yeah, I mean, they're amazing. I was quite lucky. I was at the end of the race where I had kind of like undivided attention because the race had broken up quite considerably. But I don't know how that would work now because there's other races running simultaneously. So maybe the aid stations and checkpoints get a little bit busier. But yeah, I mean, the same care and attention. There's people with a wealth of experience, whether it's medical, catering, emotional support. It's just everything that you need all in once. And yeah, they just run about. I mean, those volunteers will work harder than the runners for sure. Just running about, making sure that everyone is okay. And I know there is a safety team there, obviously, if someone is in danger, but, they must see people coming in and out those aid stations where they must think, that person shouldn't be going back out, but they will fix them up, they will patch them and send them on their way to make sure that they're safely. It's not a case of, bringing people in and just tucking them up and away you go and sit in the corner. You're not tough enough for this. So they really look after people. They're amazing.
We should also say as well, Gillian will be thinking of queued this up, but Gillian and Tony, her husband, they're volunteering at the Spine Race just now as well. So I think that's another side of it. People get brought in. It's a wee bit like Lakeland as well. There's a sort of family thing and people get involved. So Tony and Gillian are away down doing that too. And not only them, the Yorkshire correspondent has found herself in front of a media team. She started off doing the Challenger South, I think, but she stopped at 30 miles. I think that is at Hebden Bridge. She stopped there, but she's also taken on a new role, which is to be part of the media team. And I've seen her and Damien Hall doing a bit of a roundup today as well. So who knows what happens when you come on the Young Hearts Run Free podcast? Takes you places.
Absolutely. But yeah, it was great. Gillian and Tony, and I think they're in Bellingham, which will be it'll be great. If anyone wants to hang about there, Gillian will chew their ear off and they'll soon be back out on the course. I tried to think if anyone tries to quit in front of Gillian, let me tell you this. She was there with a fleecy web. I still don't know what fleecy web is.
Well, I want to move us on.
Okay.
And zoom in a wee bit on some. Well, you spoke about the 7 different flavours of spine, with obviously the full spine being the full Monty, the big headline act, I suppose. But previous spine champion and that record holder, Jack Scott, he was actually taking part in the Challenger South. Somebody else we know is taking part in the Challenger South in the summer, actually. But Jack has already won that. That started Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he came home yesterday late morning to take that. But he did say that it was as tough conditions wise that he'd had, keeping in mind what he's done previously. Was it 72 hours is his?
Yeah. Bearing in mind, Jack
record
was leading the Challenger South, so of all the 7 races, Jack's got the hardest job because he's cutting the path for everyone after that big storm.
Is he like the icebreaker?
Yeah, he's the one putting the footprints in the snow.
Yes.
So I remember last year, Mark Derbyshire, who was leading the South, and he pulled out. And I remember him saying, obviously there's no path, it's just snow. So the person who's leading the Challenger South has the hardest job because they're the one that's cutting the steps for everyone.
I hadn't appreciated that. Appreciated that. Yeah, so that's how Jack looked the way he did yesterday.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think was he just a smidge over 25 hours or so for that, and it's 108 miles the Challenger South for those who are in the know. But like if you put yourself into Jack's shoes, size he is, Debs, what would have been his like race management difference from going from the full spine at 268 to, it sounds daft saying a short race at 108 miles, but at 108 miles in terms of his race management, his mindset, what do you think that Jack would have been going into that like?
Probably not too dissimilar. I would have thought Jack was 25:12. By the way, I just thought I'd look that up there.
Thank you.
Probably not too dissimilar, and I say this because he has done the full race. I always think like people sign up for the shorter races because they think it's a baby spine. They think it's easier because it's not the full race. So I always think the dropout rate in the 100, this Challenger South, is much higher because people don't respect and appreciate that it's the Pennine Way in January because they're just doing an introduction to the spine. Whereas, people are always say to me, I'm not going to do the full spine, I'm going to do the Challenger South. And I'm like, why? Because it's not easier. You have to deal with all the same shit. You have to carry all the same kit. You're dealing with all the same things that's thrown at you. But if you do the full one, you're just doing it a wee bit longer. So I think Jack's management will not be too dissimilar to what he did with the full one. Obviously, he had different conditions and he was cutting the course for everyone. Thank you, Jack. Everyone behind you, thanks you. But, Jack didn't sleep very much when he did the full spine. He was like running himself into the ground. Maybe this time because he didn't have that chasing pack or he wasn't shooting for that big record, he might have approached it slightly different in the latter stages, but I'm pretty sure he would have been redlining for most of it. I don't think Jack Scott does anything other than full throttle. So yeah, I think him having done the full spine, he will respect that and know that just because it's 160 miles shorter doesn't mean it's easier by any stretch of the imagination.
Seriously, had they thought about Jack leading the way or cutting that path through the snow? And it does explain why he's saying it was probably the most brutal conditions he's ever been out in. He looked totally spent when he turned up. There's still an amazing shift that he put in to do absolutely. That. But yeah,
Jack the icebreaker, Scott. This is new.
That'll be his new walk-on name.
That's his darts song music.
Yeah. Ice,
Yeah, but he's
ice,
the one that
baby.
will be dealing with the sore shins if there was ice on top of the snow, because he was cutting it for everyone. But
Yeah,
even like when he was there, like because of that big snow dump on Thursday, Friday, there would have been no path for him.
Yep.
It would just been a line of snow that he's got. So he'll be doing finding the path, but he will be doing all the navigation. There'll be literally no switch off for him in the area that's snow because there's nothing for him to follow.
God. Yeah, you could wear like football or shin pads.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah.
I'm thinking there's a new thing on your in the
I
kit
think
list.
Graham Conley at some point said he was going to invest in them because I think twice he busted shins on flagstones.
Aye, that's right enough. So he did.
Flagstones are kit. Let's talk flagstones because you just said that. You see all the nice pictures of the flagstones when there's no snow, but the stories I've heard, Marco as well had spoken about the flagstones because they sometimes appear to move or they're skitey, for want of a better technical term. Do you want to say a wee bit about that area of the course, Debbie, where the flagstones are?
Oh, the flagstones are all the way up the course. They're just in various intermittent bits.
Right, okay, yeah, okay.
So you'll find them right down the Peak District, all the way up to going across the Cheviot. There's not miles and miles of flagstones, but you'll find there'll be like half a mile here, there, and everywhere. So they're pretty much everywhere. No two flagstones are the same. Yeah, unless it's like super dry, like even in the summer, they've got this layer of water that just turns into slime. And yeah, they do move and you can trip over them, and then sometimes you'll step off them and just go waist deep in a bog because you just think it's mud and it's not. There's actually a swamp there. But in the winter, they're especially treacherous because sometimes they can freeze and then there's a layer of water on top of them. So you think it's wet, but there's ice underneath it as well. So yeah, they're pretty treacherous. I think they're good because they kind of mark the way and they're laid across the bogs. But I always tell people never trust a flagstone. You've got to be super careful every time you put your foot down. And if it is icy, flagstones are, yeah, you'd be better off running on the grass.
I know a few folk I could call flagstone.
Huh?
Folk you didn't trust. That's their new nickname, John. Flagstones.
He's a pure flagstone.
Exactly that. No names will be mentioned.
That's it.
How do they know sink themselves into said bog?
Don't know.
Who laid the flagstones, John? We need to find it.
Don't know, man.
And we will.
But Jack Scott wouldn't have seen a flagstone, probably. Kit list. You mentioned kit list, and my question with the kit list, because it's quite extensive, not very extensive, but it is extensive.
Yeah.
But is there something in that kit list, Debbie, that it wasn't on the kit list, but you always took with you anyway? So did you make? Because I think the kit list is like the things you must have with you, but it's for safety reasons. But you can add more things in. So was there something not on that kit list that you would always have?
Yeah, I mean the kit list is a 17-page PDF, which pretty much sums down. Yes, it is extensive, but it's also very specific. And I think anyone who's done the race, kit check is probably the most terrifying thing because you're in the middle of Edale with nothing, and if you fail kit check, you do not get your bib, and therefore you do not pass go. So yeah, their kit list evolves and changes every year. I think Lindley likes to throw in a few curveballs, like the shit kit they made everyone carry, like a trowel. And I think this year they took out the stove and gas that I had to carry. I would have said 90% of the kit I didn't use, but things like extra gloves, you can never go wrong with extra gloves. I had a down jacket. I always had a down jacket, and that was not part of the kit list when I did it. I think now you need some kind of insulated layer, I think they call it.
Yeah.
But I always had some kind of down jacket because I learned, whether in training, I did it in Tour de Gion where I didn't take enough layers, and I was using waterproofs, thinking I could just layer up waterproof jackets, and I learned that waterproofs do not keep you warm at all. And it just always played on my mind. There was one time when I did Tour de Géant and I was out during the night and it was sub-zero and it was absolutely freezing because I just didn't have that insulated layer. So I always had a down jacket, which I packed really, really small, in my backpack, because it was just like my little comfort blanket, having that there. So yeah, I think that's super important. I think the kit list is there, yes, to keep you safe when you're in danger. But there's other things in there that you'll need for comfort as well. So, and that was mine because I was just worried about getting cold.
And you also have I'm going to call it a drop bag or a aid station bag that gets transported for you as well. So yeah, so what's in that? Has that got sleeping bag
so
mat?
most people will just have everything they need for the next day. So whether it's like clean clothes, spare shoes, you need to have a certain amount of food with you. When I did it, I think you had to leave the aid station with 3,000 calories. I think that number has now been adapted for this year. I'm not quite sure what the answer to that is. But even things like having slippers in your bag for the checkpoint, and having a spare sleeping bag so you don't have to pull that one around. So yeah, it was just everything spare that you could need. It's a 20 kilogram allowance. I think most people will use half of what's in that bag. But yeah, you've just got to carry it because you just don't know what's going to happen, whether your kit's going to get soaked or whether you need a full change at every checkpoint. So I think people will just go like super prepared with everything, but probably use only half of it.
Before we started recording, Stephen had mentioned to me about race management, and then it's about that being fluid, being flexible with it, and that no more time is that important than what's happened at the weekend. Storm Goretti went through, didn't it? And it shook the whole place up. But race management, it's just because that'll put paid to a lot of people's race when they're out there. It just gets too much, becomes overwhelming. What am I going to do next? So I don't know, how can that be taught to somebody?
No, I always say like there's very little point doing a race plan for a race like the Spine, because you've just got to learn on the job. You've just got to deal with everything that's been thrown at you. Like if the first time I did it, there was a named storm and I had to like learn how to cope and deal with myself during the middle of a storm where I was out in a very remote place by myself, absolutely soaked to the skin, getting completely battered by wind. And yeah, I had to learn how to deal with that, because there's no way in this earth in a training run you would go out in the middle of a named storm and go up a hill when it's 100-mile-per-hour winds. No. So yeah, I always think it's really hard. Like even the tail end of Storm Goretti or whatever we're calling it, nobody would have went out and gone, oh, I'm going to do 10 hours on the Pennine Way because I want to know how to train and deal with that. It's an important part of my training, because nobody would put them in a situation where they have to be in that situation during the Spine race. So yeah, I always think it is very hard to deal with it. And I do think like experience in other races and, learning how to go into the depths of yourself and pull yourself out, and various things like how to deal with yourself when you're cold, deal with things in your pack, that all comes with experience. But yeah, the Spine is like a unique set of challenges that you just can't train for. And that's why I always say don't bother with a training plan and a race plan that you're going to be in a certain place at that time and you're going to spend this amount of time and you're going to sleep that amount of time, because that literally goes out the window by the time you get to the first aid station.
I wonder if there are people out there, when there's a named storm, they go, yes, get the kit.
Rock chasers. I mean, there probably will be, right? But it's not me.
No.
Well, until you're in that situation, it's problem solving and thinking on your feet and etc., and thinking of the cause and consequence, I suppose, so that you can survive out there and keep your race alive and your dream of reaching Kirk Yatham, whatever.
Yeah, I always tell people like the best advice I can give people out in the Spine race is just find contentment. Like, don't let things get to you. Like, if it's pissing of rain, it's fine. You know, if someone's annoying you, it's fine. If you get lost, it's fine. You know, just find whatever's happening to you at that moment, just be content with it. You know, this is what's going on. That's fine. I can deal with that. I've got lost. That's fine. I'll just find my way back on. You know, you're a little bit uncomfortable. You know, there's a difference. Some people think they're in grave danger, where I always say, like, you got to ask yourself, are you uncomfortable or are you in danger? So yeah, there's various things that, yeah, I always say find contentment. That is my top tip for the spine. And then mentally, you'll be able to deal with it if you're content and you're calm, rather than, you know, getting yourself in an absolute tiz and throwing all the toys out the pram.
It's like you need a wee bulletproof bubble.
Yeah.
Like you're almost in imaginary bulletproof bubble. That's what I'm hearing.
But you know what though? That's this episode's golden nugget, by the way, because that's not just relevant to
You're
the
just
spine.
taking it all in, John, aren't you? Is that why you wanted me to come on? It's like, when are you doing? Oh my goodness.
Send in, boy.
I was like, when are you doing the winter full spine, John?
It's the
same year. The same year as Gillian McGill. No, but that is a golden nugget you've just shared there about that find contentment, because I will be openly, we spoke about this recently, Stephen. I'm not a big fan of the dark, but you will find yourself, specifically in the winter, you'll find yourself in the dark. That, for me, and I'm sure other people too, can become a wee bit overwhelming. It's very dark, but it's dark.
It's different in a race though, because like you've got bravado, right? You're so gallus in a race. You've got adrenaline. You're in a race environment. You've got a tracker. You've got a goal. You've got a mission. I think your mindset in a race is completely different. Like, you don't have the same level of fears that you would if you went out on a Tuesday night by yourself. Like, I walk through herds of cows in races, right? But in a training run, I would like do a 5-mile detour around some fields. So I do think there's things like, I didn't feel comfortable. Like, I went out on a Saturday night to do training runs by myself in the Kilpatrick Hills just to get myself comfortable with being uncomfortable. But at no point in the dark do you go, I'm really scared because it's dark, because you've just got a different mindset. You know, you're in that racing mode, you're in that racing environment. Things don't scare you the same as they would in training. And I also think that's why one of the things that I say, like, you can't train for a race like the spine. Like, you can do lots of like fitness and strength and mental training, but yeah, that's why you have to just learn on the job.
Okay. Navigation.
Yeah.
How are you with a map and a compass, or do you use your watch?
Don't tell Lindley. I've got no idea how you use a map and a compass. I can say this now because I've not gone back, but my GPS doesn't even work. I borrowed it from someone and it was like half broken, and I had to switch it on to pass kit check and went like that. Don't switch off, because it didn't work.
It's just a fakey device with a couple of.
So was it your watch? Did you have someone on your, just use the map on your watch?
Yeah, you don't even need to carry a GPS anymore because watches have just come a long way. I just used my watch and made sure it was charged.
And before you'd done it for the first time, had you recce'd the route? Been there and
I've done pretty much most from Hawes North, so like 160 miles, other than a section from Bellingham to Burness, which is a lot of kind of Land Rovery track. So yeah, I'd pretty much done most of it. Yeah, which was super valuable. But like, going back to that, not being able to really train for a race like the spine, like just being on the course and checking your kit on the course, and you know, just the nuances of going through farmland and bog, and like the first time I did it, I think I spoke to you guys after it anyway, and I did a lot of toing and throwing with a Japanese guy, and I was just like,
camera crew with him.
Yeah, and I kept thinking, imagine like just being flopped on the Pennine Way in January from Japan. It's just like, this guy was so tough. He just took everything in his stride, and I was just like, at least I'm used to bog trotting, you know. But
imagine
yeah,
that
I think
the other way, you were dropped into a 260-mile foot race. in the mountains of Japan.
I think I think I could cope better if it was the reverse in the box. But yeah, that kind of underfoot stuff and like going through those shitty cow fields.
Wait a minute. See, when you're on about cows there, livestock,
Hmm.
is there a few times where you're in close proximity to said beasts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's one when you come out of Dufton, and I think that farm's closed down now, but they used to they were all right on the path. But yeah, there is a few times where you go through them.
It's the farmer who does that intentionally.
Yeah, probably. Let's be
Get
honest.
Get them all out there. That'll give them something to think about. Because some people can't handle cows.
Yeah, I don't want to train him, but I don't have any problem in a race.
Just what you were saying, the fear factor.
Don't know why, but it's just that adrenaline you get, and yeah, you just become fearless in races. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You like
so John,
cows,
you'll
John?
be fine in the dark.
I was going to say, John, dark cows. What would you prefer?
Cows are just like big dogs. Cows.
No.
No. I would avoid a field of cows until this point, but I'm going to have to expose myself and find out what it's like going through a field.
But there's
cows,
ways we can speak about this between now and June. But there's ways of behaving in fields of cows to safeguard yourself.
Well, when we spoke with Dave that did Race Across Scotland, we spoke with him, and he was saying that they'd come across some livestock as well. And I've spoken to Gillian as well about livestock too. So it's a thing.
You're shiting it.
Aye, it's a thing. But I think I like what Debbie's saying, that in race conditions, I think it's about remaining calm as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. And it might be different.
You're going down in the course, aren't you?
It'll be different. It'll be different in the summer though. The livestock thing, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So more of them.
Why would it be different?
Because they're all out of their cool sheds and out in the fields.
What do they do? They just stay at home in the winter.
Stay in, aye. No, right.
You can maybe just strap your GPS onto one of them and make everybody baffled.
I'll just dive on one's back, be saddle up and ride your pony up the course, man. Be cool.
I think
come back and quote me on that.
They're used to people going through. They're used to people passing, and especially in the summer because there's more. I think the key thing is don't bring your dog.
Yeah, respect them, and they'll be cool with you. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Do you have? It's a long way, 268 miles. Maybe it's a difficult question to answer. There's different sections, but on different years it'll be different. But was there a bit that you thought, oh, thank God, I'm in the peaks, I'm in the Dales, I'm in the Cheviots. The Cheviots, I suppose, is getting closer at the end, isn't it? So that's always nice to get to that end. So was there a bit of the course that you preferred over others?
Yeah, the flower pot at the
finish line.
There are some really beautiful sections. Like I don't give the Pennine Way the credit that it's due, because there's a lot of bogs. There's a lot of really tough sections, but there's also some really beautiful sections as well. Like I love the bit along Hadrian's Wall. High Cup Neck is absolutely stunning. When you're coming into Dufton, it's absolutely beautiful area. Crossfell is a bit of a mountain, but on a nice day, I think there's like one nice day a year up there. There's a weather station on there for a reason. Is beautiful. And the Cheviots, like Gillian and I did a day on the Cheviots the summer before she did it. Maybe was it the summer before? It might have been late autumn, and it was amazing. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's quite remote. Like you could spend a whole day in the Pennine Way, and other than like some of the key areas that are kind of touristy, like there's bits of Hadrian's Wall around where the tree used to be, for example, it was always like super busy around there. But anywhere else, you can go a whole day and not see anyone. So it's quite desolate. Like the Cheviots, if you go and do that section in the Cheviots, the chances of you seeing anyone are pretty slim. It's desolate. It's you and a fence and some dodgy flagstones. But I quite like that because sometimes some of the trails are super busy. Like if you go out a trail in the Lake District, it's heathen. So yeah, there is some sections that are really stunning as well. And the Peak District is beautiful.
Yeah. So lots of nice things out there too.
There is.
Yeah, lots of nice things. You've also had a dabble in the summer. Last summer, you were down. How was that? Was it a different ball game altogether?
Excuse, I'm just Marco's just shouting Kieran for his dinner. You hear that in the background.
You'd have got away with that. We never had a thing.
Didn't hear it, but John's wondering what's for dinner.
What's Kieran getting for his dinner?
Sorry, what was the question?
What's Kieran getting for his dinner? Sorry.
Answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. So yeah, I did the summer spine sprint. Is that what you were asking me? Sorry.
Yes. And comparison, because we'll just be speaking about favourite bits of the course, and you mentioned about doing the winter one. There was a named storm. So last summer it was a nice week, wasn't it?
It was the summer before that I did it.
Or was the summer before? Right, 24.
Yeah, we had hailstones in June.
Ah, okay.
That's the Pennine Way for you. Yeah, I wanted to do that race as the build up to Lakeland because I just felt like I wanted to do a race and put myself in an environment. And obviously I love everything about the spine, so I thought I would go and do a race. I thought it would be nicer weather. Turns out it wasn't. But yeah, it was quite nice to do a little race that finished before it got dark.
What's the distance of the sprint? Remind us.
45, I want to say. Ish. Yeah, maybe something like that.
Brilliant.
Getting to the realms of saying that that's a sprint, eh? That's
yeah. But yeah, I think like some of the shorter distances does lead people into some kind of false sense of security. I think in the summer, like the summer spine sprint is a good entry level race. I'm going to guess there's a lot of people out there this week that were woefully unprepared for this Pennine Way in January. But yeah, some of the summer ones, yeah, they're like, especially the sprint, that's a good entry level ultra. But yeah.
I noticed Jack Scott had like spike additions on his shoes, right? But that's not part of a standard bit of kit, is it? You know, so what did you wear on your feet, Debbie, when you were doing it in the winter?
I just wore my trusty Scott Super Tracks. They took me everywhere I go. I didn't need to wear spikes because I had the shitty weather editions. Okay. There was bits where it was icy, but I didn't. I just used my poles to help with balance. So yeah, I would have been caught out, I think, if you had to wear spikes. Yeah. Because I think you need to toughen your feet up for them, and you need to do a lot of practice with them with trainers to make sure that your feet aren't going to be in agony with them on ice.
Mm-hmm. And while we're talking about feet as well, we've spoken about this before, but socks. What was your sock combo and foot care for that environment?
So foot care for me is always proactive. I cannot drum that home enough. Don't wait until there's a problem to fix it, because if there's a problem, it just unravels and becomes a big problem. So I always, like, the month before the race, I use Flexitol cream, which is like a foot cream. You can buy it on Amazon. And then I make sure I've got like no nasty dead skins round about the toes, the bunion area, the heels, all that dead skin that hard skin needs to come off, because that's where the blister will form underneath. And then I just used foot lube, lots of it. I used merino features socks and deck shell socks, waterproof socks on top of that. And when I got to each aid station, I would just repeat the same thing: clean my feet, put on lubricant, put on clean socks. And yeah, I never got a single blister or any foot issues at all. And that's because I was proactive, rather than wait until there's a problem and then having to deal with it. Because once your skin starts to any kind of abrasion, yeah, it's just a slippery slope from there.
That's proper preparation, and that's part of the race management as well that we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, you need
It's
to
foot
take care
care.
of your feet. You absolutely need to take care of your feet, because if your feet become a problem, then yeah, it's
End of your day,
mm-hmm.
end of your
Absolutely.
race.
And you don't want to end a race because of something that was easily fixed. You know, if you've got an injury or you have an accident or something, then fair dues. But to have foot problems, and yeah, I mean, I know not everyone knows how to deal with their feet, and everyone will go, oh, but my feet have always been fine. But your feet are not going to be fine on the spine if you don't look after them.
If your feet, well, you never had a blister, but when you were going through like aid stations and stuff, and I think you've got to carry syringes and all that sort of stuff in your kit.
Yeah.
So do you use them? I'm assuming that's to pierce or do whatever you do to a blister if it's too bad. Did the aid station team do that, or do you do that yourself with them watching
I
you?
think it's changed in recent years because of the amount of people in the race, whereas before they would have medics on hand to at least assist you. Whereas now I think the expectation is that you do all your foot management yourself. And if it's a medical issue, then they will step in. But things like blisters, yeah, I think the expectation is that that's something that you manage yourself. And that's why the kit list has evolved to have that foot management kit in there.
Because that's a thing, again, that you're not going to sit at home and really do that sort of stuff. You can't. How do you train that? You know, so it's something else you have to learn and be prepared for that might happen.
How do you emulate it? You can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to take us back into the here and now of this year's race. And there's a couple of side stories that I wanted to focus on. One of them is John Kelly's running.
No, now.
Not anymore.
Right, I've been at work busy all day. So is John DNF today in my
stopped
absence?
today.
That's how much actual day job work I had to do the day that I wasn't able to check
Your
the docs.
employees are listening, we get it.
Yeah. Okay, apologies. So there's one side story then. I was leaving that one because it's a little more controversial, and it was with regards to Sarah Porter's race and her having to be withdrawn by the race organisers. And there's been a bit of coverage about it emerging as to what the reasons were for that, and it would almost be kind of remiss of us not to mention it in terms of, because it's a first, I think. As far as I'm concerned anyway, it's a first for the reason that she had to be pulled, and her DNF reason is a world first.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, she was pulled maybe about 30 miles into the race. Both, you know, she knew about it. She has actually a security team that's with her in all walks of life, is my understanding, because she is susceptible to death threats. And I think she'd had a conversation with the organisers before this about the situation that she was in, because she was fundraising for a charity that causes quite a lot of attention, and obviously puts herself in danger as well from certain groups. So yeah, I think she was receiving death threats. I think the race organisers were receiving communications that something bad was going to happen to her at a certain point in the race. And basically her security were called in, and the race organisers made the decision that for her own safety that she had to be pulled from the race, because she is a tracker. So if anyone wants to cause her put herself in danger, or if someone wants to threaten her life, basically, they knew exactly where she was in the course, and they would know whether she was by herself or if there's people around her. And they can't have people out in the race that don't have a tracker that they can follow it. And I think from what I learned was they can't just turn off one tracker for the public domain. It's not as simple technologically as that. So, and that's why they couldn't just switch off her tracker, so only the race organisers were following her. And plus she was raising money for the charity, so it was important for her that she did have that coverage, and people could follow her along the course. So I think, it just got to a situation that was just dangerous for everyone. And I think for everyone's safety, they just wanted to make sure that she was taken off the course and safe. So, that is my understanding of it. Yeah, I mean, I read the post that someone was removed from the race for safety reasons, and I just assumed because they fainted somewhere, I didn't realise someone was threatening to behead them at the top of the A62.
I mean, we're on Monday today, and we're aiming to put this out on Wednesday, and by then I'd imagine there will be some news outlets picking up on this. Just because of how unique a situation it is. So thank you for that little bit of commentary. And I know that another podcast, Run Ultra, have done a bit of an episode on it today. So
that's where I got my information from. I listened to it. It's just a quick 30-minute interview with the lady in question. And I just wanted to get the full, because it is unique. I mean, I was weirdly fascinated by it, but also like, that's nuts. Yeah.
Absolutely.
When the news broke yesterday, Stephen messaged me, and I was thinking, what's going on? Because it was just totally something random news. So what we can maybe do, we'll put a link to that Run Ultra podcast in our show notes so people can go and listen to the that information. Very sad though. Very sad that somebody who trained to do the spine race is unable to do that because of this sort of circumstances. I'm not going to get embroiled in the ins and outs.
I'm kind of skirting around the subject as well.
Yes.
But I think, I mean, it's just all really sad because what she's doing is an amazing cause for people who really need help and assistance, and she's raising money to help people. And the reason why she was training to do this race was to get the coverage to raise money to help people. And
from a humanitarian perspective, she was coming at this from, So for those still out on the... Sorry, Stephen, you want to continue?
Well, I was just going to just wish John Kelly all his best, and if he's recovering for the reason he had to pull out, because John's been on the podcast before, and
it was sad. It was
a
sad.
nice guy.
So good. Malam Tarney got to and dropped out there. So, for those people still on the course, though, Debbie, as Stephen said, they were recording this on Monday. They've got until Sunday for the full spine race. They've got until Sunday to get to Kirk. I'm going to go with Yettam, right? So we're covering everything. We're saying all the different variances. Yeah. So what can they expect as they progress through the week, and what maybe sort of advice would you give to the people who are going to be there for the longer term?
Yeah, I mean, I always say to people, like, look after yourself. The race director uses the term be bothered, which is something that was drilled into people. If your hands are cold, be bothered to fix it. If you're hungry, be bothered, all those things. And it is just self-care. And the people who do best in the race, or for their own personal performance, I mean, I don't mean like in podiums and stuff, but the people who bring out the best in themselves are the people who unravel the least. And that's the people who look after themselves. So they'll sleep when they're tired. They won't push through it. They'll eat properly, like warm food and checkpoints. They will look after themselves if something arises. They'll be proactive with their feet because they won't have any feet problems. So it's just a big, long, self-catering holiday with self-care thrown in. So,
And it's unsupported, isn't it?
Airbnb.
It's unsupported as in you can't have your own crew, but it's not self-supported because you have aid stations along the way. So obviously you have people there to help you and give you food and drink and clothes, etc.
Tough love.
But no, you can't have your own. You could have people on the course before. So like if you had your family, they could pop up at various points, but they couldn't like give you anything or hand you. The rule is like if someone was to give you something, then they should be able to give it to everyone in the race, and therefore it's not support, it's just kindness. So there's people that come out their houses and they will have like boxes of celebrations, or they'll make a flask of tea for everyone, and that's fine because it's there for everyone. But if there was someone he was coming out to specifically look after you, then that is support. But then they stopped it so like if you had a family or friends, then they could only see you at one point during the course, because moral support is still support. So even like, you know, like when Tony was looking after Gillian, he could only go and see her at one point in the course. Because that was part of the rules, because it was moral support.
Okay.
But you can
I quite like the fact that there's crew list, because it just makes it like an even playing field for everyone.
But you're on that course. Are you checking your phone when you're in signal? Are you getting those messages? Do some people?
Yeah, I always tell people just switch it all off.
Yeah. But I'd imagine some people will,
because that could get in your head as well, couldn't it?
I switched it all off. Like I didn't go onto WhatsApp for the jury or any kind of social media for the duration of the race, because one is a distraction that you could probably just spend. But also, I quite like the fact that I was in this little bubble and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't want anyone to tell me where I was in the race. And they don't tell you unless you specifically ask, which is good. So I never want any information where I am, how I'm doing, what position I'm in. Because whatever I'm doing my absolute best. And no amount of pull or push is going to make me to change that. But like I always say to people, like, just turn off your WhatsApp. Like, you don't need it. Like I had iMessage, which that's the way I communicate with my husband. It's the way I communicate with my mum. So I just thought, if there's anything I need to know about, one of them will know about it. So I don't need to be in group chats. I don't need to know any of that stuff. I don't have like work stuff coming in as well. So I just completely switched it all off. And it was just really nice at the end when you switch it on and you just see all these messages coming through. Because you're not going to go off the sofa for about 4 days anyway, so you may as well just like read them.
Good catch up.
But I think it's an important part of being in that spine bubble. Like, how often do you get to just turn off your phone and turn off your notifications? Like, never. Like, even when you're on holiday, like you're in the bath, you just, there's never a point where you just have that solid break. So it was actually just really therapeutic as well, just to switch off from the world and just focus on you and putting one foot in front of the other and just being in this little adventure.
Because if you implement that strategy, all you have to do is keep moving. That's all you've got to think about, isn't it?
So when you're doing the summer race, John, I'm going to WhatsApp you and check if you reply. See if you reply.
John is typing.
Even blue ticks.
No, I think it's very good advice. Very good advice.
It's just really nice because you not only is it a distraction, but it also you just embrace what you're doing, and it's just so therapeutic because you'll never have a time where you can just be apart from your phone for a whole day or 2 days or 7 days or whatever it is.
And to be fair, we sort of crave that, don't we? We get sucked into phones and social media all the time. To have the chance to turn that off for a week. Brilliant. Can I ask, food has been mentioned. What was your favourite thing to eat on the course?
Anything hot. Soup, porridge, the Alston lasagna, obviously. Alston. I remember I said it wrong last time and someone wrote into you. Who was it?
Jodie Laird.
So, how do you pronounce it again? Alston.
Alston is. She's going to be messaging, isn't she?
She's going to be straight on it.
Alston. She says. I think she said to me, it's like there's a W in it. Alston. So right now I've made an arse of it anyway. So no matter.
Anyway, just a chance. 11 is the record for Catherine Cow, isn't it?
Catherine
11.
Cowley. How the hell? Catherine's like teeny. How does she have 11 bits of lasagna?
But I think she's also very competitive as well. So what's the record? Give me another one. So fair play.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's not going to fall this year.
Yeah, someone's got that in their head.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
Right, but you said you were just going anyway.
World for John Cassidy to be in there.
John was just going to go anyway. No take part in the race. He was just going to go in an eating competition.
Go to Alston. There's a competition on, mate.
You've seen it already.
You'll notice I've not even tried to say it, so I'll keep myself and me and Jodie are tight that way, so we'll be fine.
I think out on the course I had like sweets and snack bars and peanuts and stuff like that. But when you got into a checkpoint, it's just really nice to have hot food. I will always opt for hot food. Like I heat up my cereal and stuff like that in the morning. I always much prefer hot food.
That's a revelation.
That's it.
Aye. You write that down.
So if you ever invite me over for dinner, don't be giving me a salad or anything.
Okay. Or I'll heat it up in the microwave if I do.
I've been known to ding lettuce leaves because they're too cold. It's only 10 seconds to take the edge off them.
Take the edge off.
Take the edge off. Okay. John,
sorry,
question.
Still on food. You mentioned about 3,000 calories. What did that consist of?
Mostly like really calorie dense stuff. Like I would have like a massive sharing bar of Bourneville, bags of peanuts. I bought these really calorie dense flapjacks from Holland and Barrett, which I think had like 500 calories. So yeah, I think everything that has to have a calorie count on it rather than homemade stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just everything that was like really calorie dense that I could take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Earlier on, when you were saying when people were out sometimes with offerings, just at the bottom of their drive or at the road end, as we call it, and they had celebrations. Do you look at celebrations in the summertime? Because that's very much they're trying to get years up all the celebrations that weren't eaten over Christmas. So John, didn't he get excited? There'll be no celebrations. The only celebration will be at the finish line.
No, there's a few people that I still think come out. So I think Annie at Garrigill, I think. I'm trying to think. Oh no, you'll not even get that far, John. Actually, you're fucked. We're getting that.
Man.
No,
you're just getting chased by a herd of rampant cows.
Randy cows, did he say?
That'll be gift enough for me. The Stephen just mentioned about the finish. Take us back to that finish. It's a well documented finish, Debbie, when you won the spine race because of the lean that you told us about. That was more to do with your pack rather than any sort of medical thing that was going on. But how did it feel to win the spine race? Sorry, the winter spine race.
Yeah, amazing. It wasn't really on my plan. I don't think I did have a plan. I knew because I'd done it the year before because it was a year in between because of the COVID year. I kind of knew that I still had more in me. I wanted to go and almost rectify some of the mistakes I made. I don't know why. I could never quite articulate why I wanted to go back and do it, but I just knew in my heart that I wanted to give it another go. I didn't think I would win it. Maybe that's why I did, because I didn't go in with that expectation. I think it's quite nice to let other people have the pressure. So yeah, I didn't think I would win it, and yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing. I said to people like recently, like people are super disappointed because they didn't get into Western States. So there's a lot of people who didn't get into West Highland Way, and I always say like, trust the universe, like your time will come. And I remember the year before that I was utterly convinced I was going to get into Western States. I thought this is my year, and I thought if I get into States, I'm not going to do the spine because it takes too long to recover from. And I didn't get into Western States, and then I got to do the spine and I won it, which was amazing. It's like a huge, it'll always be one of my fondest memories. And because I won the spine, I got to do Badwater in the same year because the race director's an avid follower of the spine. And then, as you know, I got to do Western States this year, whereas I always think, if I had got into Western States that year that I was really disappointed, I wouldn't have had those life experiences that I had. So
it's like that path, isn't it? The path is maybe chosen for you, isn't it? Right. We should also say that you won the winter spine race 104 hours, 3 hours ahead of the next lady that came in. So congratulations again for doing that.
Thanks.
Quite remarkable
achievement.
achievement.
Ever since.
4.5 days.
One time at band camp, one time in spine race. John messaged me, do you want to come on and talk about the spine? Oh, I don't know. I'm all spined out.
I'm over that. But that was like, well, 104 hours, so almost 4.5 days. But how much of that did you sleep?
I think I calculated at the time maybe about 7 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, not a whole lot. I can't remember how it was broken down. I remember at one point I slept for 2 hours. I set my alarm for an hour and then got up and switched it off and fell back asleep, and then woke up absolutely raging myself because I slept for 2 hours. But it turned out I really needed that, and I actually had a really strong next day because I had that extra sleep. I don't remember where else I slept, but I think at the time I kind of calculated somewhere around about the 7-hour mark.
Were you always sleeping in aid stations, or did you sleep on the course?
I slept a couple of times out in the course for like power naps for like 10 minutes. I really struggled going across the Cheviots because I didn't sleep in Bellingham because I was freezing, my back was fogged. And I think once I got onto the Cheviots, I was in a lot of pain with my back, and I was trying to have little micro naps there. Yeah, so I just pulled out my bivvy and set my alarm and tried to sleep for like 10 minutes at a time. But yeah, you don't sleep because you just wake up freezing.
Yeah. Can you go back? Can you think back to 2 years and think, 4 years, and think how your recovery was afterwards?
Yeah, I think both times it's long. I always think like both times it took me about 3 months before, like I could go out training like a couple of weeks later. Maybe I'd do like an easy run 10, 14 days after. Like the first year, because of my shins, I really struggled to get back running, and they would flare up again. Like even a couple of months later, my shins would flare up. So I could probably get back to running after a couple of weeks, but I think it was a good 3 months before I felt that pop in your legs, you know, when you just go, feel bouncy, which doesn't happen very often now that I've hit 50. But yeah, I think when you have that run where you just feel like you've got some pop back in your legs, I always feel that's when you're recovered. It's not when you go out for a run, it's when you feel like, yeah, you've got that bounce. And I think, 3 months is a good gauge for me anyway.
Man, you look at what you've done since 2022 as well, Debbie. It's been quite brilliant. Quite brilliant. What does 2026 hold for Debbie Martin Consani?
I'm a dull one. I am first of all, I'm running out of ideas. I need something. Oh God, what's Stephen Watt got?
I saw something that you're doing this year on your socials.
Operation Unfuck Myself.
Well, there was that, but there was also another pairs event that you've entered in for.
Oh my God! Yeah, how could I forget? So what I'm doing first, I'm doing a High Rocks doubles with Kaz in March, which, yes, I have had some physical issues that have been gnawing away at me for the last 2 years, and I need to address them because, it's just my hamstrings. I've just been avoiding doing all the things that I need to do, and it just kind of got to head before Malaga Marathon last month. I pulled my hamstring again a couple of weeks out, and I managed to run round Malaga, which I'm super happy with, but it was not without its struggles, and it's kind of made me really want to address things. And I think doing something like High Rocks is just a bit different. I think it will really suit me just now, doing some of those moves, exercises, fitness things in there that are just going to help my body, because I really need to do some mobility and plyometrics and all the stuff that doesn't involve just running and sitting in my ass. So yes, I'm doing that, and I'm doing London Marathon again because I love it so much.
Yes.
And I'm doing Lakeland to get my number 5.
Oh, that's exciting. Get that bit slate.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's just like an arbitrary goal to get a bit of slate that you'll put in a drawer and never look at. But every time I see someone getting them, I'm like, I want one of them.
I should get to sit in the VIP bit at the prize giving again. That's Yeah.
I've always podium, so.
Oh, come on, that's flexing, eh? That is flexing. I've always podiumed. Drop mic.
It's like, I'm just thinking, I've won the senior race, I've won the V40, and I need to have at least a crack at the V50.
Oh, well, there you go. That's a statement of intent. I'm just going down to get my slate. I'll hit a crack at the V50.
July just ramped up, man.
I'll give it a crack. We'll see. I've got some issues that I need to deal with, but that's also my incentive to sort it out, because I really struggled a couple of years ago in Lakeland because of the same issues that I haven't addressed.
Right, and that's Operation Unfuck Yourself.
Yeah,
Operation Unfuck Myself.
What a title! I love it, and it's good. It's also good as well. We spoke in the Unawards about High Rocks, about the crossover.
Yeah, the muscle men.
I was listening to your awards yesterday, actually, on my run. Tell you who I don't want to meet in a dark trail is that girl Claire.
Oh no, Claire Withers.
A few bob in the swear jar.
She's making a girl. Annie gets to know her. Really
Brilliant. Is there a dialect dictionary word spine related that you can think of, Debbie? That you could...
Well, it could be spine related, and I don't know if it's been used before on your podcast, but I used it before Malaga because obviously my hamstrings flared up again, and I said my race is on a sugary peg.
Oh, we know what that.
Have you used that? Have you had that one before?
Oh,
and the reason why is I said it at work a couple of months ago. It was about a project that was just a big of tits up, and I was like, "Oh, it's on a sugary peg," and everyone just looked at me and went, "What does that even mean?" And I was like, "How do you explain a sugary peg? Like, because if you're Scottish, you know, it's on a sugary peg. Oh, that peg's sugary. You understand it, right? But trying to explain it to English people." So there you go, sugary peg. So I think in the spine race, there's a lot that could be on a sugary peg, right?
Very good and very apt.
It reminds me of my mum as well, because she would tell
me you're on a sugary peg.
I'm on a sugary peg, exactly that.
You've been at 3 nights in a row, boy. You're on a sugary peg.
You're burning the candle at both ends, son.
Hell, Menji.
Sugary peg. I think Scottish people can understand it and they know what that. But yeah, trying to explain it to people, I was like, and they were like, "But why is a peg not fixed?" And I'm like, "Oh."
Yes. And I've also, can I put a dialect dictionary word in, John?
Of course.
Because we use this term because we're so exposed to this time of year and dot watch and nothing. And Debs has used it a few times throughout the recording, and it's just describing something as spiny. Weather, terrain, mind, whatever. Spiny. And to the ultrarunning community, who it's if you know, you know, spiny is a thing. Do you know, it's a comparison to everything else. It's a bit spiny. So I'm putting in spiny.
Love it. I love it. I'm going to give Debbie time to think about a song, which you maybe have one, but just take a wee minute. Take a wee minute to think about a song, because some people, this is Great Wednesday, some folk are still going to be out there, and they may download this to listen to on Thursday or Friday when they're doing it. So if that's you, we want to wish you all the very best and keep going. We know a number of people, a number of listeners to the podcast, who are taking part in the Winter Spine Race 2026. We want to wish you all the best. Please keep on moving forward. Go with our love and our good vibes. And we hope you found this episode useful, enjoyable, informative. I certainly have. But Debbie Martin Consani, is there a tune? People have just listened to an hour.
You always send me a list of things to say, what to talk about in the podcast, John, and I very rarely lead them because I'm like, swing it. Anyway, there's a song that I really like just now, and it's one of those ones that I have on repeat because I just really like the song, and it's by Role Model, and the song is called Sally When the Wine Runs Out.
Role Model, When the Wine Runs Out.
Sally. When the wine runs out.
Okay, don't know it.
It comes on the radio quite a lot. I listen to Virgin Radio in the morning with Chris Evans because he just talks about running, and he plays it quite a lot. And it's a song that I've got on and I quite like it.
Cool. Up tempo.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So that is a treat, a gift to anybody listening in and thinking some spiny thoughts as we go forward. Debbie, I'll hand over to Stephen in a sec to say thank you, but thank you so much for your time.
So thank you.
We started this off by saying, who do we speak to about the Winter Spine Race? And I think we chapped the right door. There's another wee dialect dictionary for you. So thank you very much for your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed this chat, Debbie. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Debbie. Number 9 ticked off.
What are we doing for number 10?
Well, just a way to pose that question. You have a think about that and let us know, because it's inevitable. So no, I shan't hold us up any longer. Thank you for your wonderful insights into that particularly challenging race, and I'm sure everybody wants to hear role model.